So joining me tonight here on Punky's Mixtape, we're doing something a little bit different. We're actually, as you can see, it's not my usual set in my underground secret bunker. We're here hanging out with Unique Unknown. We're hanging out with DJ Matt Perry in their secret remote bunker here. How we all doing?
Oh, fantastic, brother. Fantastic.
Excellent. Thank you very much for hosting us.
Well, technically you're hosting me. We're live on location
We're both
here.
hosting each other.
We're hosting each other. I like that. I like that.
Teamwork.
And it makes the dream work.
Oh, you finished. You finished my sentences.
So we're hanging out tonight. As you just saw, they put on a very special performance for us. This is special for all you mixtapers out there. Hope you appreciated it. And we're going to learn a little bit now more about the artist. So Unique Unknown here. Tell me a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
I am me, and I do stuff. Wow, that was very professional.
You like that?
I go by Unique Unknown. Unique Unknown essentially is me struggling with a person in the mirror. So that's how I came up with that name. I always struggled because I'm adopted and stuff like that. So with who I really am. So that's where that came from. I do conscious hip hop. I sing. I went to USM for theater, so I'm an actor at heart. Born in Florida, lived in Arizona, so I've been to some places, but I love putting shows together. I love creating and getting people together, which is amazing, and I love not knowing where the camera is. That's probably my favorite thing. But a little bit about
6 of them hidden everywhere.
A little like microcosm of who I am. I like long walks on the beach, and my girlfriend Sarah Brown. Who's next?
Check.
Yeah. So
Pass it over.
yeah, pass it over.
Well, I'm not sure exactly how to follow this gentleman here. I like producing music and DJing records and playing music at clubs. DJing for artists, that stuff is really what excites me the most. And making really weird sounds, that is definitely high on the priority list for what I do. So I love to have fun too, and I've been doing gardening recently. I've been doing some stuff like that, yard work, and
Big gardener.
yeah, there's a lot of veggies in there.
Talking my language. Anyone who follows me on Instagram knows that it's half my feed is my garden. I'm all
That's
about
awesome.
that.
Oh.
What are you growing out there?
So I'm big on the Roma tomatoes. Those are like one of my favorite things to grow because you can make some good sauce out of those. Those are like the really good sauce tomatoes.
Oh, yes.
That's right.
They're like kind of like more oval shaped and less circular, and so those ones are bomb for sauce.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I think that's also the green beans. Those ones grow really well, and you can get tons of green beans out here.
You should make
Carrots.
your own sauce and call it bomb for sauce.
The bomb sauce.
Bomb sauce.
There is unfortunately that name is taken.
Darn it.
The bomb sauce is really good. It's like a verde sauce out of Brooklyn. A huge sauce connoisseur here.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, the bomb sauce is really good.
crazy.
If you see us by any chance, the bomb, you're watching Punky's
Shout
Mixtape. Your sauce is fucking delicious. You're great on breakfast burritos. You're pretty much a great treat all around any time of the day. The bomb sauce. Hopefully we'll get sponsored out of that. That'd be great.
bomb sauce.
I would love that. But we're not here just to exchange sauce recipes unless we are.
You were talking about the sauce.
I can't help but talk about the sauce. So, learn a little bit more about you guys. How long you guys been doing this together?
Ooh. Has it been, I think it's been, 4 weeks? Or 4 get-togethers? Is that how you'd say it? Yeah? Was it 8 weeks? Yeah. Essentially, we've been getting together every 2 weeks for like 8 weeks now, essentially. So, yeah.
I remember watching Unique Unknown perform live at Flask Lounge, which is an incredible venue in Portland. And this dude just shreds it because he's very eccentric, I would say, and like the performance is incredible, when you're performing live. And actually I got to DJ one time with him, and he was cool with me like throwing some extra samples on there right from the get-go. So we actually first met, I was just DJing for you randomly at Flask, Yeah, that was how
I
we
don't
first met.
remember. Like it's I have
You,
the worst
dude,
memories.
you were actually. That's when you had. You were like partially crippled then.
Yeah, that's when I was dealing with I still got it, but bad nerve damage. Yeah, no, that's crazy. That was. So you sampled over my stuff?
I was playing drums. Like I had your beats. I was DJing your beats, and I just would like lay down some like little snare fills or like vocal things or whatever. And you turned around halfway through the set, you gave me like some daps. You were like, "This sounds sick,
Dude."
Yeah,
That's crazy. And it's insane how everything kind of works out. Because I seriously didn't remember that, but no, I mean, shout out to you and like your skill behind the DJ set. Even what we did tonight, like being able to rework my vocals, because I can do a lot of vocal stuff already, and to have somebody to amplify that and to like rework it and find the right sounds, it's literally perfect, 100%. Oh, just knocked 2 terrible sayings down. Get that out of it.
literally perfect.
So you guys, as you been doing these live streams, coming together, a DJ with a hip hop artist, stuff like that. Now, obviously, started your own individual paths. You said you were DJing before. We've DJed a bunch of times together, and we've played a bunch of different events over the years. But where did you find a lot of like your beginning inspiration? Like, how long have you personally been doing hip hop for? Like, since you hit the stage?
Woo! Making me really dig. I just said I have the worst memory, and now I'm just kidding. So I started in college. College was my first taste of kind of hip hop, and I even performed on stage a couple times. More hip hop with a band behind me. So more think
Like
what is
live hip hop.
yeah, exactly. It's all about the really prolific group back in the day that I can't remember. They're all against the system.
That's so many.
Yeah, well, whatever. We'll end that. But anyways, yes, Rage Against the Machine, I guess. Yes, that's exactly who I was talking about. I'm losing my train of thought. What was the question again?
Early influences when you first started. How long you been doing this?
Yeah, so
College
is when I started. I was doing theater at USM, and then I got a taste for hip hop, and just started doing music with a group of guys, and we created a group called the Chang Gang, and it was me, Lexi Saliba, who's in New York now, it's my buddy Will Vile, and then Shahadi, goes by Shahadi the rapper. Shout out to him. We did a group, and then things kind of happened. Life happened. I started dealing with this pain really bad, and then left college, I think on the 3rd year, and ended up living in Portland and started really living life. And that's where music for me became a healing thing, because I started dealing with bad nerve damage, and I was dealing with a cane, all that stuff. Really bad pain, depression, anxiety, all that. And through that, that's where Unique Unknown came through. My first real performance, my first setting was Monday of the Minds at Flask Lounge. We were talking about that. These guys have played. But yeah, that was my first experience. Zach Mullen gave me an opportunity to have a full set, my first, full set. Which ended up being amazing, and that's where I'm a theater major, so I loved acting, but that's where I realized, hey, I can still kind of do the theater on stage in front of people and act out the words and stuff like that. So that's from then on, it just started building and building. It's been years, and shout out to my buddy Kyler Henningsen, who's like basically been a father, brother, and friend. He invested in me, put $1,000 down on my last album, and which really again started to help me grow. But yeah, that's essentially that.
And what about with you, Matt? Like, where did you get like your first start? You obviously just didn't start DJing. Like, how did you get into all that?
Well, no, I'm not like from a musical background, so my parents, I think, wanted me to play music maybe more frequently because they had no idea, so like it wasn't really that much in my house growing up. But then I was lucky enough they were able to afford getting me like a trumpet. So I played trumpet for a while, and that was really where I learned. And then I started playing guitar and like saved up all my money, working hard as a little kid just to buy a guitar and a case, and I still have the guitar. It's a nice Schecter. It's purple. It's beautiful. And so that type of stuff eventually transformed into wanting to record my music, my band's music. At that time I was in middle school, and so I pirated like Adobe Audition or something like that. I all legit software now. And yeah, exactly.
It's legit. It's legit.
So and then I just got obsessed with producing and engineering and the whole computer scene. And in high school I started really learning to make beats and also DJing at the same time. Kind of those were like the producing. I wasn't really as much like, I didn't understand that it was a job, you know what I mean? I just wanted to play music and get it onto the computer, and I was like, why can't this just magically insert itself perfectly into the recording, And then 10 years later, now I'm working at a recording studio. I'm fully obsessed with all things audio, and that brings us mostly to getting kicked out of the clubs because of coronavirus, and
Screw you, Corona.
Not having anything to do, and then setting up the live stream down here. And now instead of being in front of 300 people, we're in front of just 3 people. Much good social distancing rules and much good grammar.
Much good.
Speak goodly, yes, especially in interviews. And I think it's great. Like, you're doing something unique, and you're not just playing other people's music or anything like that. You're doing some of your tracks. You're improvising in a moment. You're freestyling there, and you're just totally impromptu. And that's what I think is what's so fun about what the streams that you've been doing and what we saw earlier tonight. Is you're just kind of seeing where the music takes you. You're having a good time and you're having fun. And I think it's something that we all need to remember. That you don't always need to take everything that you do so seriously. You can just kind of see where the road takes you and have a good time and just kind of be lighthearted with it. And I think we all kind of need that right now with as much seriousness that's happening around the world, and to find small little moments to find joy in your life, or like what you guys are doing. You're bringing joy to other people, and that's what I get out of it, and if you don't see one of you guys' streams and come up with a positive experience and having a smile on your face, then you weren't paying attention, straight up, because you're doing good things, and I think people need to know about that, and from there, so you're doing the stream, and it's been slowly evolving. You're adding more and more to it. What do you think that it's going to be like down the road, and going to involve a little bit more with the show?
Well, it's kind of funny. I went into this just really excited to be working with a DJ. My whole time started from when I started rapping, like I said, back in college and stuff like that, and really getting into it as Unique Unknown. I've always wanted a DJ to work with, somebody who can mix my stuff, or somebody who I can just sit there and freestyle with, improvise with, because that's probably my favorite thing to do, especially from that actor background setting, all that. I love freestyling, and this has been perfect. So I'm ready for whatever essentially comes from this. I think the most important thing for me is getting people together, you know what I mean? That's huge for me. So if we're able to get more people together, more collaborations, I want to get Shahadi, up here rapping with me, people, anybody. But that's essentially that. What do you want to do? We were talking about that before, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I think part of the whole situation is me and, the whole people who live here and work here too, being responsible and stuff like that. So that's at least part of the reason why there's not tons of people here right now, trying to keep it smaller, you know.
Yeah, still things are slowly opening up here in the state of Maine.
Yeah, I would love to have Punky come on and shred some instruments while we're doing our thing, because I think the third layer of a musical element, we have the lyrics, sort of like the backbeat, the DJ / drummer holding that down, and then we got the freestyle melodies and vocals. To me, that seems really exciting, and I think we can create some really magical moments. So I'm excited to bring more instrumentalists on to pair them with the vocalists.
Would you be improvising with the beats and stuff like that? So you'd be like, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
You're just gonna be able to play and jam and be able to follow where you're going with the music.
Yeah, I mean, even if it is drum loops, I think it still works really well just mashing them up. And if, you know, we each kind of are holding down a different section, or Punky's playing bass, drum and bass, I mean, you don't really need much else.
Me and Kyler we have a group called Dead Float Society, and that started with me rapping in front of the guitar grave for Art Walk. I was rapping and he was playing the bass, and we had like the drum, little drum pad or whatever that would just play, you know, pre-recorded drum beat. So, you know, that's already ingrained in my bones and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
Well, that definitely sounds like a lot of fun and something I would love to be a part of. That sounds phenomenal, actually. So doing really good things. It's evolving, you know, and a lot of us have been able to get together at our different shows and streams and kind of, you know, all work together to be able to bring, you know, the best sort of product that we can to everybody, you know, and just have a good time and doing what we're doing. And that's one of the things that I love about the mixtape and all the people that I've got to sit down and talk with, is it seems no matter where you are and whatever language that you speak, whatever part of the world that you are, people are going out there, they're putting their art into the world with just, you know, an open heart and an open mind, and it's been amazing to be able to connect to people on such an emotional level, and it's been almost life affirming to go through that. I know, getting real on the mixtapers, but you know, it tends to happen, you know, and I think, and it's a predominant theme is like we need that togetherness, we need that unity, and it's good to see, you know, everybody banding together the best way they can to bring, you know, positivity into the world right now.
Yeah, it's
you know?
essential right now.
It really is
showing us this is showing us exactly, you know, who we are, and you know how strong we are mentally, but also how much we really care for humanity and each other. And yeah, no, we are definitely in this all together. You know, I want to know what your influences are. I want you. I'm gonna do a little spin real quick.
Man, my influences?
Yeah.
Oh man. As far as like production goes and like electronic music, there'll always be people that are like near and dear to my heart. Specifically like Aphex Twin, Square Pusher, Venetian Squares, you know, artists like M83, Daft Punk, well, always. But then like specifically, like really like the big push and always is like the Crystal Method and like the Dust Brothers and stuff like that. Mixmaster Mike, the Beastie Boys are one of my biggest influences. They showed me what you could do with looping very early on, and I'm so thankful that I grew up in a family that was so musically influenced, from learning instruments from my dad, and music influence from like my sister, just from being a decade older than me, and just I'm so very honored to be given the music that I was at a very early age. You know, I don't know a lot of, you know, 9-10-year-olds that are sitting there and listening to anything from, you know, Nirvana and Alice in Chains, you know, and then things, you know, like Wu-Tang Clan and White Zombie and Ministry and NWA and Body Count and NoFX, and there's like so many different musical influences from all over the world. And I think that's why I get this amalgam that is me, this big just melting point, because I like everything. I love so much different folk music, you know, like Donovan and things like that, to a lot of indie bands, and like especially like Radiohead and things like that, the Flaming Lips. Basically, my influences are where I can find honesty in music, in lyrics, or even in instrumentation, and you can tell, you know, as you can tell when it like truly resonates with you, and you can hear an honest musician from the bullshit ones out there, you know. And I think that's like what drives me more and more, and I'm constantly getting new influences, even to some of the artists that I've discovered, you know, not that I, but have been influenced on, and the privilege that have been submitted to the show. I feel like that's a new influence on me, because I'm getting all this amazing music of multiple genres from around the world. And it's been humbling to start my day with, you know, an email from Dublin or Sweden or Norway or Australia, some of the places from London that I've gotten emails from so far, and nevertheless, like, but all the different artists across the United States, which is amazing. And I think it's like the international ones that like really catch me off guard, because I've only been doing this now for, you know, just a few weeks, and the fact that it's snowballed into this, it's mind blowing, and it's like, the only word I can say is that it's humbling, and I find all of that inspiring. That's a great, you know, nice to spin that around on me.
That's beautiful. Goodness
You know,
gracious.
the whole thing is just like I said. It's been a
I'll
very.
have you talk at my eulogy.
I can put some, you know, rather poetic words together from time to time, and sometimes syllable not speak so goodly.
Slabble?
Syllable.
Did you say slabble?
Syllable.
Oh, today's word of the day is slabble, kids.
You know how you syllable, you know? But as we sit here and bastardize the English language, one thing, so you were looking to add more, you know, collaboration into the stuff like that. What about personally, say, with like your music for Unique Unknown? If given the opportunity to collaborate, say, with like any artist in the game out there, you know, who would you want to pull in? Is this like an aspiration of collaboration, as I say here? Is there anybody that you would just like that's in the game? You know, don't tell me a dead artist, because that'll never happen.
Well, when you say in the game,
Anybody,
do you mean like
indie, big, doesn't matter. Anyone that's currently making music right now,
You know
or
what?
that's alive.
That's a good question. I literally was just thinking of, because actually Ebon Ivory, I fell in love with the music. Not only the, you know, and the instruments and all that, but the singer and his lyrics. So I was thinking like, and I even like messaged on, he just did a cappella version of Hide and Seek, remake of that, which was beautiful. His name's like Charlie Powlett or something like that. I hope I said that right. But I would love to collaborate with like metal, essentially, or like, you know, that kind of, because I love metal. I don't really listen to a lot of hip hop. You know, I listen to like my influences, which, you know, I love Will Smith. I love Eminem whenever he releases something, or, you know, just very slim amount of hip hop I really listen to. I love progressive metal. That is essentially Dream Theater, Mastodon. You know, there's very few. I started with the drums and stuff, so Rush and stuff like that. Yeah, now I'm losing my train of thought, just winding on. Oh,
You'd want to collaborate.
so yeah, to be honest, like with some progressive metal group, to be able to rap and sing and kind of go back and forth just the way we're doing, that would be amazing, like phenomenal. So Ebon Ivory, I'd love to do music with you.
Well, that's good to know about the progressive metal thing, because now I can pull out some more drum loops that might sound like that.
Ooh,
So
yes.
that's good to know. I didn't really know you were that interested in like metal.
For playing in metal and hardcore bands for years, and you can take some loops that I can play for you, and then we can live loop that. See, now we're mixing up something here. I like that.
Yes.
This is why I ask, because you never know. You never know until you take that risk and just be like, oh, like, what would you want to do with given the opportunity?
Right.
You know, I mean, worst case scenario, you know, you say it and it doesn't happen. It's not
Right.
the end of the world.
Right.
You know, you're just putting it out there. And I love to hear, you know, what artists, you know, try to say what they would love to do for collaboration, because secret goal for everything is that maybe somebody watching this sees that and it actually happens. But I get to play that song. And then I get the privilege, because I know it's kind of like having a party, and then it's like your best friend ends up meeting like this, your better half's best friend, and they fall in love, and you're just responsible for that beautiful, beautiful romantic relationship right there. And you know, but it's not as messy because it's music, and then you won't lose a best friend. You won't lose a best friend out of it, you know. You know, that's the best part. You know, you're making relationships, but without the potential of it going sour romantically.
Yeah, right. I don't know what that laugh is.
So, who would you wanna, if you were given up to do some collaboration with as an artist?
So, Infected Mushroom
Oh,
and Daft Punk are both like huge influences for me, and I currently put a lot of my like most creative ideas into an electronic music duo called Adverse Effects that I'm in. So getting to collaborate with another duo would be like wicked fresh, I think. And like Infected Mushroom kind of for me defined electronic music because they were the first ones that I heard break the mold of it sounding so loop driven. And so Infected Mushroom stuff was so transformative, and like the song Heavyweight by Infected Mushroom, like,
Is there lyrics over that?
no, not really. No, Heavyweight has like some singing, like just vocals and stuff like that. But
Okay.
so those guys are just the way they process sound and the manipulation that goes on with what they're doing inspires a lot of what I'm doing, just doing weird stuff. So, I mean, I would absolutely lose my shit. There's no question about it. If either of those collaborations happen, I would freak out for the rest of my life.
You guys watch Community? It'd be like Troy meeting the Reading Rainbow guy and LeVar Burton just freaking out in Community, just like couldn't even talk to him.
only wanted an autograph. So it seems like a running theme on the show, 6 seasons in a movie. You're not the only guest to mention Community. And Dan Harmon, we love you. We'd love to have you on the show on MixTape. Come hang out with us, Dan Harmon, or any of the Community cast, Danny Pudi. I would love to hang out with you so
Danny
much. Danny Glover, that would just be obviously phenomenal. Ken Jeong is phenomenal. Yvette Brown, all the wonderful things that Yvette Brown's doing on Facebook with all the social movements that she's standing behind. She's an amazing woman. Definitely check out her Instagram, and then Allison Brie. And then obviously we come to Jeff Winger to, man, I had everyone's name except for Wingers. Why can't I think of...
You got a lot of names.
I know. And I'm a huge Community fan. I'm a huge
McHale.
Joel McHale. Thank you, and he's on the Joel McHale show. I'm so sorry, Joel, if you ever happen to see this.
Made me think of it. I was
That
like,
would break
I know
my
his
heart.
name.
So sorry, I've spaced on your name. Huge Community fan. Huge Community fan here. You think you're gonna make a movie here soon?
Please.
You huge Community fan?
I'm going his
I don't know.
Then we're not going to skip over you then.
Well, this interview's done.
We're just going to change this into a 2-shot really quick. We'll squeeze right up here.
Sorry, guys.
Unique and Punky in the morning.
I wish I was on that.
We can do it again. You want to
Yeah,
go?
yeah.
Ready? Like Unique and Punky in the morning. There we go. That was good. Yeah.
I love that show so much.
Good work as the
seasons
intro.
of the movie.
Oh, it's phenomenal. And that's the thing. We know we have fun here. It's not all serious here on the MixTape. So, and that's one of the last things I want to ask before we part ways. So, where generation did you come in? 'Cause you're a little bit younger than me. So, you probably weren't at the point of doing like cassette tape mixtapes. You're probably doing like mix CDs when you were a kid. You ever like make like a mix CD for somebody and stuff like that, or making them? Do you remember like your first mixes that you ever made?
Yeah. So I made a ton of mixed cassette tapes. Just like I would hear the song on the radio. I wasn't smart enough to like, I was only like 3 or 4 or 5 years old, just like making little cassette mixes. So like I listened back and they were all just like parts of songs. There was like 0 full records on there. Like it was mostly just Enter Sandman on a loop. Like that was pretty much most of my cassette tapes.
That's really cool.
And, and then I made a bunch of CDs like later in life, just like, which was an interesting phase because like, you don't consume music nearly as fast then. It's like you consume it really slow. You listen to everything all the way through.
Right. That's crazy.
How does that incorporate to me?
How did you when you were a kid? When you were making mixtapes or mix CDs? Which did you do first? Like just for your own personal use?
I didn't. I didn't do either. Well, I guess the first like kind of mixes I made was on like the first Zune I got. I got a Zune, and that was like my first. I got a Zune. Well,
You were a Zune
the
guy.
iPods were always expensive, so I ended up getting a Zune, which is pretty cool because you could like watch stuff on it and you could do all the same things. But they were sturdy as.
Robbie's right. You know, compared with when they first launched, Zune absolutely had the market. Then it took the iPod a bit to catch up.
Yeah, so I didn't really.
So you're making like
mix
Zune
music.
playlists then.
Yeah, I mean, even if you could say that, I never really made. Oh my god, I get. Well, yeah, I guess it was my own personal playlist. I had a PSP once. I was like doing dishes, and I'd have the PSP in my pocket.
Music?
I'd be playing like random stuff, listen to Michael Jackson, and then I don't know. That's essentially. That's funny. Michael Jackson, and then Eminem cleaning out my closet.
Now, do you remember like the very first album that you like asked to pick out? Like
Yeah, that was
like not the one not music that was given to you, but like mom, dad, like
that was
this.
Eminem Encore. Like Will Smith, like I loved Will Smith. He was the first rapper I heard, but then Eminem was that's where I get like the emotional part of music. But Encore, like I wanted it so bad. I remember like we had to go to like I think we went to the dentist earlier that day or some doctor's appointment. It's crazy how memories are flooding in my brain. Yeah, I wanted Eminem. She was like, we can go to Walmart, but you have to get the edited version. So I got the edited version of Encore, which I absolutely loved. You know, I didn't care either way. But yeah.
Because you had it.
Exactly.
What about you? Do you remember?
I got Eve 6 CD at a yard sale for like 50 cents or something.
That was like the first.
That was
one
the
you picked
first
out
CD I picked
yourself?
out. I just love the album art, and there was a song on there called "Inside Out" by Eve 6. Anybody? It's like it's a random. I think they were a one-hit wonder, and that might have been their big song. But like, it was. I think it was like maybe a 4-track CD or something, and yeah, that was awesome. The first like I think record. I started collecting like cheap records from Goodwill and stuff like that. Like I'll go to Goodwill and look for like a warped record on purpose. You know what I mean? Just because why not be a weirdo? Like there's no point in not being weird. So, but I mostly just would buy like knockoff records, like cheap ones that kind of just like fall into my lap. That to me is like the sign that I need to buy it rather than like something I've gone. I did buy Compton, the new Dr. Dre record on like vinyl. That's still like plastic wrapped and everything. I'm not gonna unwrap that one. I also have an MF Doom vinyl that's wrapped. It's not gonna unwrap.
Yeah.
So I got some of that stuff.
How mad would you be if they unwrapped?
Unwrap the rap record.
Oh. Whoa!
See that? Whoa! Look at that simile.
Dang.
Oh, I have my moments.
Language is a gift and a curse. We just showed the gift part of it.
And if you watch the rest of my show, you can see the curse part of it. So I want to thank you guys for putting on a show for us tonight. This has been incredibly special. I hope everybody, all my mixtapers enjoy this. DJ Matt Perry, Unique Unknown, before we part ways, any messages out to the world?
Stay strong during these times. It's crazy out there, but you know, take care of yourself. That's important. It's the first thing you gotta do is take care of your health, and then, you know, think about the people that love you, the people that surround you. Communicate with them. Tell them you love them. And that's it. Remember, we're all unique, unknown. Shameless self-promotion.
Ooh, my favorite.
That was solid. That was really, really good plug.
Follow that up.
Yeah, come on. I would say number one for me is just to like trust my ear and make different sounding things, because if you're anywhere in an artistic process right now, you might hate what you're doing, you might love what you're doing, but it's really tough. And just keep trying weird stuff, because eventually that's how you'll get to the end of the chain. But if you just are trying to copy everybody else, that to me is kind of boring. So try making weird sounds and doing weird art. Put something backwards, install something upside down, do something like that on purpose, because I think it can yield like really, really interesting results. And I think hip hop was kind of created from using a turntable not the way it's supposed to be used. So
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like when you can take an instrument and find a new purpose for it. Just like you were saying, I think it's the mother of invention right there. You have a necessity. You're trying to do something. You have this sound inside your head, and just go for it. Follow it. Because who knows what you're going to end up creating at the end of the day. So, thank you so much for having me come down here. This has been awesome. I appreciate this. Woo! And we'll see you all very soon.